And now, Michigan Reimagined with Chris Buck.
So the coronavirus wreaked havoc on the entertainment venues around the country, and one local group, Caliber Karting and Entertainment, opened a wildly unique indoor space to recreate and blow off steam. Not only have they thumbed their nose to the pandemic, but they're doubling down on expansion and significantly as they reopen. So here to discuss what they're doing is President Jordan Munsters, General Manager Zach Bingham, and Manager of Operations Casey Steele. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you,
It's
Chris.
our pleasure. I'm hoping I can corral this group here. I've known you guys for a little while, and this is we got 15 minutes of pure joy coming our way.
And it's a hopeless chance.
It's like herding cats.
Well, you've been friends of the show, and I've applauded the work that you've done, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about what you've done to get through the pandemic, but more importantly, the fact that you're moving forward with your growth expansion. So we're going to dive into that on this show. So for those unfamiliar, tell the audience a little bit about what Caliber Karting and Entertainment is, and in my opinion, equally as important, where you have chosen to set up camp.
Yeah, absolutely. We set up camp, Caliber Karting and Entertainment set up camp in the Meridian Mall, on the north side of the Meridian Mall, in an anchor location, an empty anchor location that was a Yonkers. It is basically an adult playground. We have 2 go-kart tracks. We've got a bar, we've got a restaurant, we've got rage rooms, axe throwing, arcade games, racing simulators. Anything that you would ever want to do as a big kid, we have it in our facility.
So a Chuck E. Cheese for adults.
Yes.
Oh yeah, better than a Chuck E. Cheese for adults.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And the mall. I mean, we talk about in this show in particular, economic development, vibrancy, and what are we going to do with the Amazon effect and brick and mortar storefronts closing down, and we've got this 100,000 square feet basically of empty, anchor space in a mall that you guys have populated. When did you guys open?
Labor Day of 2019 was when we first opened up to the public.
Got it. Okay, so about a year.
Yep.
All right. But wait, there was this one weird thing that happened.
It was crazy. It's so
pandemic.
Weird.
So we're recording.
Wait, what is this?
We're recording this in October of 2020, and so Labor Day of 19, you were open for
6 months.
6 months.
Yep.
Before the pandemic forced everyone to close down.
Yep.
And indoor entertainment and crowds yelling and screaming and drinking and recreating, unfortunately, was a big problem.
Came to a screeching halt.
Yep.
Right. And so you've been closed for about 7 months.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
So now, as you open, right, nobody knew the pandemic was coming. So it was, in my opinion, a real stretch for you to take over this size of a space and create these offerings and just really trust that the world was going to come and embrace your endeavor. And how did that go? Was it a lukewarm success? Was it a momentum driven thing, or was it an instant hit?
I mean, it was pretty much an instant hit. We started noticing massive influxes of people coming through, lines that were just as far as the eye could see. And it was just amazing, the amount of smiles and happiness. And you said it earlier with the joy. We bring joy to these people, and we need to see that in people. It fuels us. It's what makes us happy. And we make sure that everyone leaves with a smile on their face.
We spent a lot of time up front to make sure that people were aware of us. I mean, heck, Zach went door to door in subdivisions and knocked on people's doors and said, "Here's a flyer." Like when it was like 98 degrees.
I was so sweaty.
That would be a frightening doorknob.
Like, look at that beard.
So you open, it's really successful. I've had the pleasure of coming and using your experiences and kind of understanding what you are and why you do it, because you set up camp in my hometown, or the town I've been living in for 12 years anyway. And it is as fun and joyful as you paint the picture, but it's not really an individual. You probably don't see just 2 guys walking in, right? I mean, it's usually a group endeavor. And can someone share with me a little bit about the the rooms that you can book and the events that kind of come in and the waves in which that occurred?
We have a couple different things. We do get people, groups of 2. Date night's real popular with this
True.
stuff.
Yep.
But events that's a big portion of it. Corporate connections. I mean, if you think about, you want to go and have fun with your employees, get them to break out of their normal. How better can you do it than throwing axes next to each other and adding alcohol to racing high-speed go-karts or shooting each other through combat karting and things. It's there's a lot of connection pieces, but we custom cater every single event to what their goal is that they're trying to achieve. So, if it's birthday parties, we do celebrations, we often give presents, things like that, and make sure that they feel special. But the hardest part about having an event is often being the host of the event. And our job is, our events team, we take the hosting so that you can play. So we do have a lot of people who book events with us, especially come during the holidays. It was crazy last year. We had, I think, 35 calls. I think it was actually per day when we were going. We were not prepared for that.
Yeah, we were drowning.
Yep. But we, Jalissa came in, she put the stuff together for the events and put together an awesome team. And now, I mean, we have it set. It's a science now. So when people call, we can just find out, what are you hoping to achieve? How much time do you want to spend? And we put the rest of it together. They don't have to worry about anything.
Now, Casey, you rattled off the things that High Caliber Karting and Entertainment offered. So talk a little bit about kind of phase one. You put together 4 or 5 different types of experiences for people to have, and then let's downshift into what reopening is going to look like and the expansion that you did. So what would people have experienced for the 6 months that you were open?
All kinds of things. The whole project started with just one go-kart track. Then we found this massive space. We were like, well, we got to fill it with something. Let's add another go-kart track. Let's add all the things that I've already listed off. And it ended up being this great culmination of everything that we love doing. And that's what we ended up finding out is we could add a massive list of just about anything that people are interested in all across the world. But what we are best at is what we like to do. So we want to facilitate the things that mean the most and the things that we have the most fun doing. So now we have this great list of everything that we like to do, including the new development and release of combat karting, which is drive around on track, shoot your friends with laser tag. Just
so fun.
The absolute best thing ever.
But that wasn't available. That
was not
part
available.
of the reopening, right? So you had the 2 kart tracks, and these aren't your mom and dad's go-karts, right? These are like the real deal. I just want to clarify that because people sit there and say, I've been to the beach and the boardwalk and, these little electric, they, pull start with the lawnmower engine and all that stuff. Can you share I got to give people a taste that this is not that.
Okay, so for example, the people who build these karts for professional racing purposes, in the last few weeks, we've had them come out and they race our karts, and every single one of them, they walk away and go, oh man, I've never ran something like that. We had a manufacturer come out actually yesterday for one kart and ramp it up as fast as it physically could go. Top of the line, literally the best of the best that's out there. It's lithium ion powered. It's got twice the kilowatts of power on it. And he was barely able to beat the karts that we have out there right now already. And I mean, they are blazing fast. And he goes, I cannot believe how fast you guys have these karts.
It's an absolute workout when you're out there. There's people that they come off the kart track, they pull their headstock off, and they are just dripping with sweat. It's because these are the real deal. Yeah. You're not going to go 10, 15 miles an hour in these things. You got to hold on.
You'll be sore the next day.
Right.
Definitely.
Yep. And they're electric, obviously. So that's probably the best for performance, but it also is logical for being indoors, right?
Instant power.
Mini
hit that throttle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, ludicrous mode all the time, right?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So, and then you can talk about Super Track.
Man.
Casey, you take that.
Mega track. Do we need to say more? It is whatever we call it. It's both of our tracks combined. It is just about, I think, a little over a quarter-mile long indoor karting facility. So you got the best of both worlds. You got the tight track, which is just aggressive as heck and a ton of fun for a good, solid driver. And then you've got the more expansion, the longer version of the track, the red track. Combine them together, you get the best of both worlds, a nice, diverse, long, with straightaways track that you just blast around in crazy speeds with these karts. And it is, everybody that does Mega Track wants only Mega Track. They're like, get rid of both tracks, just constantly run Mega Track all the time, because it is just phenomenal. The way both tracks complement each other, it's something to behold.
If you like to be happy, it's the best way to go.
Just walk through our door.
It's an axe throwing.
Yep.
Okay. I think people
8 lanes.
At this point probably understand what axe throwing is for the audience that maybe hasn't been through one of these before. Bar and restaurant.
Yep.
Pocket soccer. Talk to me a little bit about pocket soccer.
Pocket soccer is basically if you take a pool table, make it, 12
foot by 18 foot.
Yeah, and then you make soccer balls instead of pool balls and you kick them with your feet. And it's a freaking blast. It's way harder than it looks.
Okay.
And great with a beer.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Even if you're good at pool or soccer, you're probably going to be terrible at this.
Okay.
But it's just so much fun. You will do it for hours, just trying to get good, trying to do trick shots, pretending like you're, David Beckham with these soccer balls. But it's no matter whether you're good or not. The great thing is the playing field is level.
Right.
You can't come in with predetermined skills and talents and be amazing at it. So everybody's just sucks
awful
at it all the time.
I found it out the hard way really fast.
Right. And then super high quality video games.
Yep.
that people can do.
Arcades, racing simulators, yeah, both of those.
So before the pandemic hit, the decision was made that there was some adjacent space that was available, and with the crowds and the momentum that you had in your reinvestment, you decided 6 months in that you're going to add like 30% more space.
Yeah, against all professional advice.
So, but then the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
And from what I understand in my kind of knowledge of your team and some research that I've done, that you almost use the pandemic to just kind of get that done so that when you reopen, you're going to have new offerings.
Well, we did new offerings. So like we added rage rooms. We refitted a conference room in our current space for it. The expansion is going to take longer. The reopening, it paused everything. I mean, construction couldn't move. Materials coming in couldn't move. The mall actually contacted me right after, about 3 weeks after the pandemic hit, and said, hey, what do you think about this? Should we pause this? Should we wait a year or whatever? I said, nope. People need to socialize. They need to have fun. We made the right decisions. We're doubling down on this. We're going to get it open. We're probably looking spring of next year. So, I mean, when we're or spring of 2021 is when we'll be able to have that up and open. But our current facility, we did add the rage rooms, and we're going to have, we bought an inflatable archery tag arena to be able to put it outside. So that way,
outside.
Yeah. So we're going to rock that until winter shows up.
All right. Rage room. That's probably not a phrase most people listening have ever heard of. So what is a rage room and how does it work? What do I get to do?
The rage room is a room that you can take anything that's ever given you any kind of frustration or irritation in your life. You take it into this room. It's a nice, confined, well-established room.
Not people.
Minus humans.
Children are allowed.
Inanimate objects, yes.
Let's specify.
Yeah.
Banging sound systems. You turn on whatever music. You're all geared up and all the protective equipment. And you go in there with an armament of tools, and you just smash away at whatever you want, however long you want, until your items are gone or until you feel relieved and you come out several years younger.
Huh. So I think
some glass and things like that. Yeah.
So I have to go. I mean, I immediately go to Office Space.
Oh yeah.
When the guys drag out the copier that's caused them so much consternation.
Yes, we have a giant one.
And then they just pound the crap out of it.
When we went to go test this out, that was definitely, I reenacted the scene and punched it and everything, and just got on my knees and just had to go for it.
Did you walk away with the cords and stuff?
I did. Yes.
Okay. So who do you, the BYO? I mean, do you bring your own thing to destroy, or do you just go to recycling centers and buy big stuff, or how does this work?
We got super lucky. So the president of Habitat for Humanity is a friend of mine, and we started discussing this, and she says, we get a ton of stuff like this that we don't know what to do with. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll buy it from you. That way you guys got money for a good cause. It goes to you. We're getting supply for this, and we can recycle it. And then we have a recycling center who comes in, and they purchase the precious metals from the electronics from it. So everything goes right back to a recycling. So the glass recycles, the electronics recycle, so there's zero waste. So rather than it getting thrown in the trash, it goes to a nonprofit. The nonprofit gets money from us for it, and then we end up putting it into a recycling situation, so there's less trash going in the landfill.
Fantastic. I can't believe how fast time is moving. I'd really like to downshift into combat karting, because when I first met you, well before you signed a lease and even opened, this was on the table. This was really where you were trying to head.
Yeah.
The go-karts that we've already discussed are as awesome as already has been portrayed, but this new wrinkle, it takes it kind of to a different level. Someone explain to me what combat karting is and all the IT that's behind it and how that works.
Okay, so combat karting is it's a heads-up display that's on your car, so you can see through. It's a windscreen basically that you can see through, so it doesn't obstruct the driver's view. As you go around the track, you gain weapons, power-up, shields, and as you shoot your friends as you go around the track, it physically slows their carts to allow for passing. And there's a bunch of lights and there's sounds and things like that. And there's a bunch of different style weapons like EMPs and rockets and stuff. And so as you go around, it's playing our old favorite video games in real life. We've been developing it for 2 years. It was the initial thing at we wanted to develop it, and we kind of prototyped it and whatnot. And High Caliber was the indoor go-kart track was like someday I'll be able to do that. Well, we realized when we were developing that we needed a place to test it. We couldn't just show up at a kart track with these carts and be like, hey, we need to put this out there and test it. So we're kind of, okay, well, we're going to have to build a venue for it. So that's why we did the second track. We separated that track out to be designed for combat karting. And we developed it over the last 2 years. We've got 4 engineers on the team, and we went through, had a focus group of people every week. They came in, they tested out, they gave us feedback, we did modifications. Now we have people flying in from all over the world to test the system out because they want it. Because karting's been the same since 1957, and this is a whole different world. And people who have manufactured these karts and have been in this industry are walking away going, "You just made a new sport."
So, Or I mean, are you that genius, or is this happening in other places? I mean, there's a lot. Really,
we're the only place in the entire world. We designed it ourselves. We created. There is nothing in the entire world like this.
And I'm hopeful that you did the right things with patents and all that kind of stuff.
We work, Small Business Development Council, Michigan Economic Development Council, all those people, they got us with a tech team to make sure that we protected this stuff.
Right on. Okay. And so has that been live for the community yet, or have you just been betaing it as you kind of sneak in the middle of the night during the pandemic to test it out and have fun with your friends?
I would say we've put about 150 people through it and ran it. But this weekend's where we really put it live with people, and anybody can come and do it. All
right. And then the additional things, which maybe will be another show, is going to be spring of 2021.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, we've been talking with High Caliber Karting's Ninjas President Jordan Munster, General Manager Zach Bingham, and Manager of Operations Casey Steele. Thanks so much for joining me, and all the best to this next chapter.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Chris. You beautiful man, you.
You are handsome.